Alright, Rammus is released in the War Rift right now. You can play it, you can buy it in the store right now. It's a really strong tank jungler and I recommend you buying it if you're a jungle main. It would help you a lot in your rank games. So today we're going to be looking into his abilities, his build, and his runes. What fits him, what works on him, we'll talk about that. Is it okay with you, Rammus?
Okay. Yeah. Alright.
Alright, let's get into it. Alright, first we're gonna go through his ability first. This is not a very difficult champion, so we're just gonna speed through the abilities. Passive, simple enough. You gain movement speed out of combat, increase to 180 during a powerball, which is your Q. And Q, as we know, is just a Ferrari at this point. You go into a ball and you increase movement speed super fast, and if you spot an enemy, you hit on it, it gets stunned and it gets knocked up like this. Let me show you. Like this, you knock them, they get stunned. And remember, when you're ganking into the lane, do not knock into any minions, because if you knock into minions, this would make you look really super dumb. You just fail the gang there and your teammates is just gonna flame you. And look at here how much speed he's picking up with his Q. I'm gonna show you now. His movement speed is 416. When you go into your Q, look at the movement speed here. 500, 600, 700, 800. This is a Ferrari in Wall Rift right now, which is really, I'm super excited to try it out in the games. Alright, now we're gonna take the head and look at his second ability. I'll make it quick. It increases your auto attack with extra magic damage, scaling with armor. The more armor you have, the more magic damage you deal. Active, you go into a defense curve. When enemy attacks you, it reflects damage back to the enemy. So this works perfectly well with the item Thornmail, which reflects damage to your enemy when they attack to you as well. So that item is definitely going to be a core item for Rammus. And when you're going into a defense state, you did get like a small slow by like 30%. You lose 30% of your movement speed, but sacrificing the movement speed, you actually gain like 185 armor, scaling with 100% armor. So the more armor you have, it's gonna add 100% back into this ability. And then with 50% magic resistance, well, so you're getting double armor, magic damage release and attack damage release. Third ability, easy, you taunt an enemy. So let me show you. I'm just gonna enable bot here. I'm actually gonna go in and make myself invisibility, so I can actually see the enemy. Look, she's attacking me. She's hesitating. When I proc my E, she's definitely going to attack me. So this is kind of like forcing the enemy to attack you. Look at here. You kind of force him into an attacking you mode. She can't use her ability or anything. She's just gonna be chasing you, whatever. You're just taunting her. That's it. Super simple, super good for ganking. It's pretty much like a stun, but they start attacking you. His final ability, Cannonball. That's it. Simple as that. Just a cannonball. You go in, cannonball. It deals aftershock for 4 seconds. It slows the enemy further. The more they are in the ult, the longer they stay in the ult, the slower they're gonna get. Super simple. Now let's take a look at its combo. When you're trying to gang, what should you do? Easy. This is not a skilled champion, so you could get used to it super quick. When you're trying to go in the gang, you gain speed in the bush. You can just do this, getting full movement speed. You go into it, you knock them up. You go into a defense curveball like this. You use W and go into a defense mode, and then you taunt them. It's that simple. Let's do it in the Katarina here. You go in like this, you wait for your max movement speed, you go in, and you don't want to knock into a minion. That's why I said, if you get a knock up onto the enemy, oh Jesus, let me do this. Knock, defensive mode, and then taunt them. It's that simple. Let me clear up these minions. These are getting annoying. You use this, gain movement speed, go into them, knock them, go into defense mode, and taunt them. That's how you gank, and your ally is gonna do the rest damage. You're just there to taunt them, making them stay in the lane, and you can let your ally, if Zed or Yasuo, do their thing. That's the simple combo. Or you could just use your ult, go into there, apply your ult, apply the slow, they're trying to get away, you use a taunt, use your defensive mode, auto attack them, and they're still trying to get away, then you could use your Q. Like this. Let me show you. We'll get close to her, ult, slow, taunt them, go into defense mode, auto attacking her. She's trying to get away, you use your Q, stun them again, and if you have your blue smite, you can actually slow her again. So it's a confirmed kill if you're ganking any lane. That's the 2 combo. Q, knock, W, E, that's it. Or, let me close this first. Alt, W, E, auto, he's trying to get away, use your Q and knock him again, and use a blue smite to slow her, whatever the enemy lane is. Now, one interesting fact for Rammus is his ult. As you can see, it's a really small range, but this is not its max range. Its max range is infinite. The faster you go, the bigger the range is gonna go. Like, watch this. Speed up. Look at this range. It's getting bigger, it's getting bigger. Cannonball! Super, like, this is just gonna be insane in the bot lane. You could just one shot, you couldn't one shot, I mean, you could gang a lane pretty easily. Like, look at this. You can just get into a lane here and just go in and then go into defense mode and taunt them. You could actually just end up killing an enemy super easily. That's why I would say the more movement speed you have, the bigger your outrange is just gonna be. So now the second item that works really well, a core item for Rammus, is the defense blade. Of course, it's a tank item, it works really well with Rammus and actually gain movement speed while at 100 stack. It works as the same as Yomu, it's just a tank item, so it would work perfectly with Rammus. And that's about it. Let's go ahead and take a look at its build and runes. Also, I will have a Rammus gameplay coming up. If you're interested, be sure to subscribe and stay tuned. Alright, so now we're going to be taking a look at the build and runes for Rammus. We're just going to be talking about the runes first because it's going to be easier. So we're going to head in here. Aftershock, it's super easy to understand why you're using Aftershock with Rammus. Rammus deals a ton of CC, and when you're dealing CC, you're airborning, you're taunting them. Aftershock grants you extra armor and a magic resistance when you're taunting your enemy. When they're attacking you, you gain that shield and you have that Aftershock that bursts damage to the enemy, so it makes a lot of sense. It's just like Galio, when you're CCing your enemy, you get that extra shield protecting yourself while dealing damage to them 4 seconds later. Super easy to understand. This is like perfectly made for Rammus. Second runes, very simple. Weakness, a ton of CC, like I said, just like Galio. When you're dealing a ton of CC, you deal an extra 5% damage. Or if you're interested in any other ones like Triumph, if you're trying to get more sustainability during a team fight, you could go for it as well, but generally I would say go for weakness. The second small rune is conditioning. I would go for backbone here, but after looking at backbone, I don't really think it's worth it because backbone only gives you either 10 armor resistance or magic resistance. Not really worth it. You might as well just go for conditioning, because you gain both of them, 8 bonus AR and armor after 5 minutes in your game. Rammus is kind of a late game champion because he's building full tank, just like Mundo. Early game, Mundo is super weak. Late game, Mundo is insanely strong, just as tanky as a monster, right? So we're gonna go ahead at third runes. The third runes is a little bit complicated. None of them really fits Rammus well, but only 2. You can either go for Mastermind, getting an extra XP and gold when you're doing a dragon, turret, or baron, or you can go for a Pathfinder, which increases movement speed when you're in a river. So it makes you easier, it gives you a lot more movement speed when you're trying to gank, because we're a jungle. When we're trying to go into a lane, we usually use the river and get into the lane. So gaining the extra movement speed with your Q, the Powerball, would actually makes it easier to gank a lane. And remember, extra movement speed increases the range of Rammus out, so this might be really good for Rammus. Especially when Rammus has its passive. When out of combat, Rammus gains extra movement speed, so Pathfinder might be one of the better runes compared to Mastermind for Rammus. The summoner spell is easy. You either go for Flash, or if you want more movement speed, you could try Ghost as well. As you know, Rammus is a full tank champion, he doesn't deal a lot of damage, so you have to get Sunfire Aegis. This would speed up the clear in the jungle so much faster. It would make your jungle life so much easier. So it's like a easy solution. Just get Sunfire Aegis as the first item, so you could clear the jungle as much as possible, as quick as possible. I'm sorry about that. Second item, Torn Mail. Don't really have to explain. It works perfectly with Rammus W. When Rammus goes into the defense mode, he gains extra armor, extra magic resistance, and it actually reflects damage back to the enemy when the enemy is attacking Rammus. Torn Mills reflects damage back to the enemy when enemy is attacking Rammus as well, so it works perfectly with his ability. Definitely a core item. Third item, a shoe. You actually go for this plated steel caps, gain the extra armor and reduce damage, and you go for Gargoyle. Just like Mundo, when you're in a team fight, you jump with a cannonball out into a team fight. You have to use a Gargoyle to keep you alive because everyone will be targeting you when you're using your Taunt ability. Fourth item, Deathman's Plate, gaining extra movement speed. The more movement speed you have out of combat, the larger, the bigger the range of your ult is gonna be. Easy enough to understand, works really well with Rammus because Rammus is all about movement speed and armor. Fifth item, it's really up to you. If the enemy has heavy magic damage like Akali, Katarina, Evelynn, Ahri, something like that, you can either go for Spirit Visage. I wouldn't really recommend because I don't see Rammus using any healing or any lifesteal, so I would actually go for Force of Nature here. Very simple. If they have heavy magic damage, you would just go for Force of Nature. It's super easy to understand. And the final item, Guardian Angel, if you really think you need it, but I don't really think Guardian Angel is a good choice. You could either go for a Radiant's Omen, more armor, reduce their crit strike, reduce the attack speed, or you could go for Warmox, get the extra health regen. But if you're actually going for Warmox, try to go with the Spirit Visage as well, because now you're different. With Warmox out of combat healing, if you have Spirit Visage, you would increase the healing by 30%. So these two works really well. There's a reason they're both in green color, right? And as I said, last item, if you're not going for Warmox, it's really up to you. You can go for Frozen Heart, you can go for Starex to get that extra passive lifeline if they have a heavy burst damage, but you're a tank, you're not gonna get burst down by anyone, so that's it. It's super easy to understand. It's a full tank champion, just play full tank. You can try full AP if you want. It's kind of a cheeky build. I would try it if I have a chance to.